Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Robocraft and to another build video. This time we are going to be constructing a bot that I kind of have a bit of an idea about already, or at least I know what I want to aim for. Whether we can actually get there, I don't know. The bot is named Faraday for a very specific reason. I'll leave it to you to work out what that reason is for the time being while I just get things underway. We're going to need a fairly large central pillar. Now, much of this may be replaced. One of the chief needs of this bot is that it's going to need to be fairly, well, it's going to need to be light. Very, very light. Again, we're going to be aiming for tier 6 with this particular bot for no other reason than because it's cheaper to experiment in lower tiers than it is to experiment in higher tiers. Now, for movement, we're going to be going with 2 rotor blades, one on the top, and one, as you can probably guess from the way I've designed this, down the bottom. Now, this is going to be our central, our primary method of locomotion. Now, the second thing that we're going to want is the pilot seat just tucked away. Okay, we're going to want the pilot seat kind of tucked away in there, but that might be difficult. Let's have a quick think about this then. Oh, I can see what we can do. How about something like this instead? It's going to make it a little bit unbalanced, but I'm sure that isn't going to unbalance it too much. Will that fit in? Oh, perfect. Absolutely perfect. And for the sake of making it look kind of interesting, we'll do this. There we go. Right, there. This is our little cockpit, such that it is. And we'll have some nice glass cubes there and there. And we'll have some regular cubes down here. Now, I'm putting these on just so I've got a good idea of where I can afford to have weight. Because right now, this bot is going to largely be made up of the aero rods. Hence the name Faraday, really. It's going to be more cage-like than anything else. And we'll also put a little bit back there. Okay, so that's my little cockpit, all built. Everything is good. Now, the first thing I want to do is work out where I'm going to put thrusters, because we're going to need some good movement on this thing. And I'm fancying some thrusters there, and also some thrusters directly behind. Maybe even more thrusters behind than in front. I kind of like that idea. I must be honest, I do like that idea a lot. Yeah, that'll have to be there. Okay, yeah, we'll go with this. That will be good enough. Now, we'll cut that off there, and we'll cut this one off right here. Now, the main thing that I would like to do with this is work out... Oh, actually, we do need that one a little bit there, just so I can find out where the top of this is. Right, there's the top. We need to do the same at the bottom. Now, this is largely going to be a cage. It's going to be one of my least, I imagine, attractive-looking bots. Because I'm basically testing out an idea here rather than trying to make a finished product. I know I've prettified the cockpit already, but that may be the only thing I can afford to prettify at all. Now, we've got a rough idea now of where this resides, this central area. Now, ideally, I would rather not actually connect all of that completely, but, well, I've done that now. Is there a way that I could perhaps have the cockpit separate from this? There may be. Let's just have a quick look at something. How far out would this come? It would come out a fair old ways. There's definitely a part of me that's liking that. We'll have to have a think. The way that we're going to build this cage is going to be very, very important. I want to be able to divert as much damage away from the cockpit and other functional components as possible. Hence the name Faraday. If you were wondering why on earth is he called this Faraday, I still don't get it. I mean, I know what a Faraday cage is, but there's no real electricity in Robocraft. I'm effectively substituting the idea of damage for electricity. The cage is going to try and divert as much damage away from the main bot as possible. And I'm going to try out something a little bit sneaky over here. Now, I'm not sure how well this is going to work in terms of the speed and maneuverability. Although it's got 2 copter blades and a bunch of thrusters, this could still easily not work the way I'm thinking. So we're going to start out with an idea that we're going to be building this for healing. So, have I got any tier... Do I really not have any tier 6? Really? Or are these tier 6? Oh, these are tier 6. I was reading it as tier 5 for some reason. Okay, well, pop those there. And I'm thinking we'll have the others at the top and the bottom, maybe? Something like that. So 2 at the front, and 1 on each side, and 2 at the back. Something like that should work, I would imagine. In fact, you can probably rise up a little bit. We'll see. Can we put something there? Yes, we can. Okay, that's fine then. So I have that there. And this over here. Now, the reason I'm going to go with Medibeams to start off this build is because, generally speaking, I don't need it to be an especially functional build for Medibeams. You don't need it to be a very, very maneuverable. Speed is great, and the ability to get to certain distant locations quickly, and you know, height and things like that, very, very useful, but not necessarily the be-all, end-all. If we drill that back, we can have that in there and then connect it like so. Do I really like that? Because the entire limb is then... I don't know, that might actually work out okay. We also want to have something similar down here at the very bottom. We want to protect the top and bottom in much the same way. So we'll grab these. There we go. There, and fill this in. There we are. So here's the beginning of our cage. Now we just need to decide how we're going to fill out the rest of it. You know what? There's another thing I could do. Could I actually have tier 6 hoverblades up here? Oh, I could. Oh, wow. That's kind of cool. This would allow it to move along the floor and just hover. It would never really crash. That might be interesting. We'll have to see how we can do that, because I've already pushed us quite far into this tier. Over on here, we can do away with that in exchange for these. Like so. Can't do it here because that's where they're connecting. But we can do it up here as well. There we are. Now, these aren't connected. This weapon is actually connected to the cockpit. It isn't connected to this limb at all. And that's kind of what we're going for with this. We want to try and divert damage away wherever possible. We could even kind of do that over here if we were especially sneaky. But I'm wondering if there's really a point to that. We could see how we could fit this out. Now, what I'm going to want to do is to build these back. We're not quite going to be able to do it there. Okay, well... Perhaps if we brought these down a little bit more, maybe? Brought this out? No, actually, this will do. This will be fine. We'll just build it back like this. We'll just use the slightly less awesome-looking way of designing these curved areas right now, just until we've got everything in place. That's above this block, so it doesn't really hinder us at all. Let's bring that out. Yeah, that should do. We'll have it slightly taper off towards the front. Give it a bit of a shape. Bit of a forward arcing shape. Now, if this idea does end up working, then what I may do is try and design it in a much more aesthetically pleasing way. Let's put that there. Grab the smaller arrow rods and put those there. In fact, yeah, let's go for this. turn that around like so. We'll have this there though. Or should we? Yeah, I would actually like it to be going along the middle. I think going along the middle would be a better idea, but that said, no, we should be okay. Let's do like this then. There we go. And then connect it up like that. And the same on this side. There we are. Now there's going to be a lot of umming and ahhing as I'm working out what I'm doing with this. Again, this is very much just proof of concept. Although I've started with an idea, that's more or less all I've got. Just the basics of an idea. We'll see if we can make it into something awesome. Alright, let's see if we can mirror that design on this side. Because this is tall enough to have these bars moving all the way across. Which would be nice, quite nice, I think. Now we need to taper this off and bring it in. Let's see. So we want it there. And then down. There we go. And then that neatly conceals this area. However, what we could do instead, if we do it like this, we can get another one of those blocks, place that there, and then have that come across there to create a little bit of a connection right at the front. Okay, that's actually quite nice. Could do much the same here, perhaps, though we'd need to slightly adjust the way that we're bringing these together. Like so. Alright, so we're starting to build up the cage very slowly. Put some more there. Can't fit one there. Ah, that's a bit of a problem. That is a bit of a problem there. Replace this, replace that. And put another piece of the cage there and down here as well. Now, as this is ultimately going to be a flyer, we don't want to end up with a huge amount of weight on this. That's something we actively want to try and avoid if possible. But I'm not sure we're going to easily be able to avoid it, unfortunately. We want one down here as well. Maybe around here? That looks about right. So all of those nice cubes that I used weren't actually necessary, unfortunately. Alright. We'll bring this across at the top. Right, well then, where can I have more cage components? Because ultimately I would really like to just completely seal that off. Maybe I should do away with this in exchange for more of these. I mean, that's certainly possible. Could we come in one then? Maybe something like this? Would that be able to fit there? Yes, it would. Okay. In fact, let's bring this down. Right, I can see that there's not going to be one there, so we're going to want to come across one more. Another one but there. Then could we come down perhaps underneath? Could we curve down then? No. But perhaps we should see if we can bring this out. Where do you stop working? That works. That does not. Okay, so that is where we want to be. Oh, that works. Okay. That's interesting. And then probably just moving along. Ah, right. I see how this is going to be. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Right then. That is in a good spot. That's in a reasonable spot. We'll use this one to try and pull down on weight a little bit. In fact, we can do that on the inside as well. We're going to need a lot of those cubes, come to think of it. So let me just sink a little bit of cash into that. Grab 100 of them. There we go. Okay. That isn't so bad. We'll pop that one there. We don't really need one there, because we've got one on the outside. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. We'll bring this across. That there. how do you want to do this? Have this one going on the inside like that. Oh yes, that looks good. That looks very good, in fact. Then we have an actual connector piece moving out. Alright, we're going to need to adjust some things down there, and I also need some more of these by the looks of it. So let's grab another 20. There we are. Now we're getting a little bit close to our limit here, which is not something I'm particularly happy about seeing. Pop that there, and then this down, so it's not connected to the central column, perhaps. Again, trying to divert damage away from components rather than sharing it all. What are we going to do there, then? That's a bit tricky. Well, that said, I wonder, would this fit across? Would it interfere with something? What is it interfering with? Oh, wait, it's because I had the mirror line there. Okay, well, that works. It does separate things, unfortunately. These will not be transferring their damage down onto this beam because they're not connected to it. But that does give me a little bit more of a cage. Ideally, I would like more of a cage down here, though. So what about if we do this? Get rid of that completely, like so. And then go for a long beam straight across. That give us much of a cage there? Yeah, kind of does, actually. Alright, so we've got a fairly hefty cage, but wow, we've used so many components up there. There is no way we're going to be sticking in tier 6 with this kind of design. Unless we got rid of the hover blades, which I suppose are not actually that necessary. It's possible that we might not need them. Okay, let's just recreate this design on this side and see where we're stood at the end of that. There we are. And back this way. No, actually, that one needs to be one of these. There we go. And then I believe on the outside then. Ah, but here it's a little bit different. We actually need to account for that. Perhaps we could get rid of these thrusters, though. There's no particular reason why we need the shape to be that different at the back. Yeah, we'll do away with that. We'll just allow these to sit where they are right now. Are these connected? They are connected. Then we could use these instead to form the connection points. And actually, yeah, we do want that one to be a cube, so we'll go with that. All right. So, have I changed this one at all? No, that's fine. Okay. On this side then, back to what we were doing. We want another prism there, followed by an actual cube, followed by another prism. That gives us our proper shape there. Okay, right. We want to place these on all of these points and these ones as well. That has barely adjusted our position in T6, which is very nice to see. We're going to need one of these connecting up there, like so. And this can exist right there instead. That gives us more or less what we've got at the front. We can have a bar traveling across. So we're actually building up a fair old cage here at this point. I am pretty happy with it. Oh, wait. That does not work. Oh, that's because it was meant to go across the middle. Silly me. So we want two over here. Get rid of this. Now, will that work correctly? Does everything connect properly? The top is now completely disconnected from the bottom, except at the corner points. It is still connected at the corner points, so that's fine. That's all I needed to make sure of, that it still did connect in some way or another. Right, we want one of you right there, and then we can bring this across. Now, what I'm worried about is, although it's working right now, will this hold together when it comes to actually doing the bottom? Because there's going to be a lot of these arrow rods at the bottom that I haven't got represented at all at the top yet. That is a little bit of a concern. That is all connected correctly. That's all connected correctly. Right, we want to get rid of you. To build this out in exactly the same way. You have to turn off the mirror line in order to be able to place those ones, because of the way that if it was mirroring them perfectly, they'd basically be overlapping each other. So that's what it's complaining about there. Oh, that's one too many. There we go. Right, remembering to turn that back on. Very, very important. Something I am often want to do. That is forget to turn them back on. Right, now we want to start using the prisms and these blocks. I'll just put that one there just so that I've got something to capture a copy of. Ooh, how would I put this on there? There, I think. Comes across like so. Then we get another prism going on the inside. Oh, okay. Run out of prisms. I am a little bit concerned that I'm using a lot of components on this build. Oh, you get to spend so much on this. Let's hope that I have enough to finish the design. Right, down at the bottom. There we go. And we can start connecting these up then. Actually, I think those are in the wrong place. One there, two, one, two. Another prism, just on the inside. Oh, was that actually... what was that meant to be? Oh no, a prism on the outside. Okay, that's fine. There we are. Oh, actually, no, that one would be a block and then another prism. Oh, phew. If we were going to fail somewhere, it was going to be there. Ah, no! I lied. That's where we failed. How much are those? I think we're not going to be able to do it. Damn it, we're just going to be a little bit shy of the total that we need. Oh no! When did I forget to turn that back on? Ah! Oh, scallywags. Oh, actually, fairly recently. I forgot to turn that back on, apparently. Because I'd mostly finished this. But this is going to cost a lot more than I was prepared for. Okay, well, what we'll do in the meantime then is we're going to reduce what we build down here for the sake of cutting costs. We're not going to have enough components at all. I suppose what we could do... Pardon me there, had a bit of a sneeze. We could just go with the blocks for now, just to flesh this out. Especially since we're not going to be able to easily connect it anyway. There we go. And we'll bring that all the way out over here. We'll actually have just a normal ring around there. And we'll continue that over on this side as well. But eventually, if this does work, then we'll invest the money to improve all of that. Though we'll more than likely be increasing the tier significantly. And we can afford then to be a little bit more sparing in our placement of these. There we go. And, oh, ran out. Okay, not quite as sparing as I thought I was being. Get rid of... Nope, nope. That's not what I wanted to do. I'll try and share these out if I can. Drat! Oh well. We only messed up by a tiny, tiny little bit. Right, there we go. Okay, so we've got a much reduced cage at the bottom. That is a shame, but it's something we can easily live with. The top is effectively what we want. That's the design that we want. It would be nice if we could have the hover blades there, but I'm not sure we're going to be able to afford them. Oh no, actually we can. All right then, I like that as well. Okay, now there's a lot of issue at the top though still. So let's drop down some protection. Now ideally, I would rather... well, I guess that would still work. What we would need is some of the lower, the shorter ones to go across, but that'll work for now. And down the bottom we'll do exactly the same. It's not a lot of protection, but it does offer me something more than I had before. So this is my Faraday cage. Hopefully, in many ways, it's going to just funnel damage away from important components. And at the end of the day, the cockpit has quite a lot of survivability because it's not connected to the majority of the armor on the outside. If I could... maybe I'll steal one or two of these. For example, these. And those. Okay, let's see if we can actually hook this up. So how is this all connected? Connected there. Once that block is gone, then this entire section is disconnected from the cockpit. Is there anything like I can do that down here? Ah, no, damn. There isn't really. Unless I were to do some sort of finagling. Which I guess I could do. We'll see. Let's try and do that over here as well. So we connect that up like this. Then perhaps have the thrusters there instead. Oh yeah, that works. That works well, actually. There we go. So the cockpit is now more or less completely disconnected. The moment these blocks, and they will be destroyed first, and because this has the armor effectively of, well, not quite the armor of 3 blocks, but a decent amount of armor there, that block will probably be destroyed, and this one might not necessarily be destroyed straight afterwards. And the same over here. Once those 2 blocks are destroyed, the front and the back, the cockpit is completely disconnected. But the beauty of this design is it remains a functional cockpit. I don't just mean it can get away. It's got thrusters, but it's also got the rotor blades, and it's also got these connected. Because these are connected direct to the cockpit, not to the Faraday cage itself. So, even in that situation, this would just become much lighter, but still capable of being a medic and escaping. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Now, the moment of truth, because this hasn't even been tested yet. We haven't taken it out at all into practice. Let's just take this out, see how it does. Maybe, fingers crossed, it'll do okay. Okay, it's hovering, so its hover blades can work alright. Moves quite fast. And tries to adjust itself. Rotor blades. Ooh, it's hard to maneuver. No, it's very heavy. I can easily strip away some of this weight. How high can you get if I'm just holding you still? Actually, you can get up pretty high, so that's not the problem then. It's more than likely... Oh, when there's any sort of thrust, it starts wobbling all over the place. I suspect that's the hover blades, in effect. Do we really need the hover blades? I don't think we do. But let's just actually test out that theory first. So we'll strip the hover blades off. There we go. And then jump straight back into practice. And we'll see how that works. Ultimately, the hover blades need to be at the top rather than at the bottom. Otherwise, it could destabilize the craft. Now, let's just take off. Yeah, it was the hover blades doing that. Because without the hover blades, it's actually fairly maneuverable. It's very maneuverable. Which is the ideal thing for this little medic cage. Okay, I'm liking it, actually. I'm liking it a lot. It's doing its job well. Okay, now I haven't checked a lot of the connection points. So it's possible there are some that are very, very poorly connected. And those will become very apparent in combat. But do we actually want the hover? I don't think we need the hover blades at all. Which means that I've got a lot more room in tier 6 than I thought I had. Okay. I don't think those hover blades are actually adding to this bot in any significant way. It's possible that I could do something around the edges to connect them, but I don't think I will. I think I'm fairly happy with the Faraday. We need a little bit more money to finish it off, and the weight difference may tip things, but that was maneuvering quite well, I feel. And again, I really do like that the cockpit isn't just an escape pod, it's actually a functional craft. It's got quite a lot of mobility. In fact, all of the mobility is on the cockpit, not on the armor. And it still has 2 mediguns. So, you know, in a pinch, this could still perform its role fully. It could do everything that it was built to do. It'll just do the healing a little bit less, and it'll also do the surviving significantly less. But I think we're ready to hop back to, I believe it is episode 119. I'll leave an annotation on the screen for those of you who'd like to come and join me in the Faraday's maiden voyage, and we'll see just how well this bot actually does. Or if this experiment was a failure and I have to go back to the drawing board. But either way, I think I've actually learned a few things about building with aero rods, so I consider this a success, regardless how well the Faraday does. But until next time we meet, do take care.